Welcome back, everybody, to Viewpoint. Again, we're talking about Washington's Theater Lab this Sunday morning. And there's a philosophy or a quote here that kind of sums you up. Everyone can perform, and performance enhances everyone. How does it enhance everyone? And when we say everybody, anybody can take part in this.
Absolutely. Yeah, anybody. And we do get people from all walks of life, as Deb said. Typical person who will come to one of our adult classes would be somebody who says, you know, we sit around on the floor typically and say, okay, what brought you here? And people say, well, I always wanted to try this. I always thought maybe, you know, I had something in me that could do this, but, you know, I had to have a job, and so I couldn't really pursue it. And so we try to get people away from that idea that it's about a career necessarily. You know, for some people that we train, it definitely is. They're hardcore, really want to become professional actors. But I would say for most people, it's because they have something in them that they want to express, and they want to find out how to do that. Or they, you know, they were in their 6th grade play, or they were in their 10th grade play, and they're coming back. And what we try to do is to nurture that idea instead of to stomp on it. It's really easy to get that stomped on. You know,
oh, yeah.
Because people tell you don't have talent or something like that. And so we try to get away from the whole talent idea and say, yeah, let's see what happens if you just go with that and have some fun and see if it's something that you like. And people do tend to stick with it once that happens.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one of the things that you learn when you're training to be an actor is that it's all about just accessing more of who you are. There's your habitual self, and then there's your non-habitual self that you might not even know yet. And so much of that is finding out what else might be there. So I always think it's funny when people come into an acting class and they'll say, I don't really know if I'm going to be good at this. And I think, well, if this was a pottery class on the first night, would you say, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this? I mean, it's the first night. It's a craft. You can learn it. We actually don't think it's about talent and not talent. We think that it's just like anything else. If you study it and work at it, you can become an actor.
And it takes qualified instructors with a lot of experience, like Kike. Who are some of the faculty that we're talking about?
Well, we take our faculty from the professional theater community in Washington, which, as I said, is a great theater community. Not everybody knows that it's the biggest professional theater community outside New York in the country. And so we've got some really fantastic people, and some of our core faculty members are Kim Schraff and Delia Taylor and Michael Rosato. And then we have people who work with us occasionally, like Mitchell Hebert and Holly Twyford, and a lot of names that people who go to theater know. But it's important to us that that's not their only qualification. You know, that they won a Helen Hayes Award is not enough to make them a good teacher. You know, so they have to have that right spirit, that they do see this in everybody and want to pull it out.
And it's all done in a group setting, I would think. It's not one-on-one. We're talking about, because that's important for you to work with groups of people.
Right.
You've got to get over that fear, I guess.
Absolutely. And theater is so much about collaboration that you know, we often say that the acting doesn't happen if we're doing a scene together here and here. It happens in the space between us. What happens when we interact with each other? So yeah, it's almost always in a group setting.
Kike, some of the young people who you work with, do you find that you have to convince them, and then there's a line that they've crossed, and wow, I didn't think I could do it?
Yeah, I mean, some of the after-school work that we do, you know, like right now with Gala Hispanic Theater, they have a group there that's called Paso Nuevo, which means new step. You know, you have kids that come in because, oh, my friend is here, so I just came to check it out. Yeah, I'm not really into acting, you know. But then once they see, you know, their peers getting up and doing things and becoming other people, becoming characters, before you know it, you know, they're up there. And the beauty is that you can come into these processes and just bring whatever you have, because there's some kids that say, well, I'm a songwriter. So, well, then write songs. You know, a lot of times you find out that you have kids in the group that sing, but they're there because under the impression that they have to be actors. You know, so we try to mine, you know, whatever it is that they bring to the table. Sometimes kids get involved in, you know, designing costumes. You know, sometimes I want to do the artwork for the flyer. You know, so there's other kids say, oh well, I want to learn more about sound. I want to learn more about lights. So there's all these different areas to the theater. So the theater is not just about, you know, going on the stage. I mean, there's all these different aspects that go with it. And a lot of kids have the opportunity to learn, you know, some of those things as well.
Wow. And that they've never been exposed to. But you're right, as you had mentioned, collaborative too. And there's so many different areas that they can, you know, be interested in and find out where their interests are too. This is a year-round program. I know you've got a very strong summer youth program, but if you sign up for a class there at the Theater Lab, does it take how long? How much time do you devote?
Yeah, typically 6 weeks, once a week for 6 weeks. And this was a decision we made way back when we got started, that we would keep it really short so people could fit it into their lives. If you knew you had a business trip coming in a couple of months, you could still take an acting class. Yeah. You know, and if you miss one, okay, you miss one. With 6 classes, if you miss more than one, then you should probably take it another time so that you really get a good 6 weeks in. But then you can always go on from that to another class and fit it into your life.
Okay. And then we have more advanced long-term programs too. We have a year-long honors conservatory at the Theater Lab, and that's where we're training 10 students each year to become professional actors.
Wow. And many have gone on to do just that.
They have. They're working all over Washington stages, and a couple have gone to New York and LA as well.
Wow, that's incredible. All right, as we go to break, tell us where the benefit is going to be, the gala on Monday night.
Great. Monday night, we're going to be at the Almas Temple at the Sphinx Club at 1315 K Street, and we would love to have people there.
It's a great venue. Okay, we're coming right back on Viewpoint, so stick around. And welcome back once again to Viewpoint. We're talking about the Theater Lab in Washington, the largest theater program in our region. Buzz, we were talking a little bit earlier about the benefits for people who go through your program. In the real world, outside the classroom, what they take away with them. What does it teach them? How does it help them perhaps in finding a job or dealing day-to-day with others?
It's funny that you mentioned finding a job, because Deb and I have written a couple of books on how to apply acting techniques to job interviews.
Okay.
And one on how to apply it to public speaking. So there's that sort of high-level communication thing that a lot of people have to do that they're a little bit afraid of. Nothing more stressful than a job interview situation. So how can you have a couple of techniques that will help you to make the eye contact that you might be afraid of making? There's just a lot of carryover there. So sometimes we find people coming in to take an acting class for exactly that reason. They have to do, they have to do public speaking at work, or they're worried about their self-presentation in that way. So it's fun to see how you can actually train in a few ideas and suddenly come to life in a way that you didn't think it could. It's fun to watch that happen.
I think, that's a common thing. I don't know anyone personally who is, I'm not, public speaking, when, you get 1,000 people in a room, it's different than looking into a camera. I have no problem with. Kike, how do you get a young person to get over those nerves, that level there where maybe they're self-conscious, and this is the first time they've performed in a group setting among peers?
Well, I think what does it a lot of times in the process that I lead is getting people to realize that it is their voice, that it's their story, that your voice counts. One of the first questions that I always ask is, if you had 3 minutes in front of an audience and you had a story to tell, what would that look like, sound like? And what would you want to say to the world in those 3 minutes, about the things that matter to you? And I think that's one of the most exciting moments in the process, when kids figure out, wow, I do have something to say, and I do want to say it. And now our job is to make sure that the story sounds and looks good. So we're there basically to help them process that.
So once they get used to getting it out there, starting to say it, then it gets easier to say, I guess.
Well, young people we know start as young as what, 9, 11? How?
5. Our summer program started as young as 5.
Whoa.
And our Life Stories program started as young as now about 10.
Okay. And the other end of the spectrum, you work with seniors in assisted living. You go to them.
We go to them. Actually, all of our Life Stories programs take place off-site in shelters and assisted living facilities. And yeah, we go to the seniors. And so our oldest student was 99. And she was a fascinating storyteller. This is actually a program started in 2000 by a man named Michael Rogers, who founded the organization with us. And what's really marvelous about that, there was a woman who was telling a story of the time she met Eleanor Roosevelt. And when
my goodness.
When you're in an assisted living facility, though, so much, of the day-to-day is about what's not working for you, or how you're dependent on somebody else. And so it's sort of amazing to see people reconnecting with who they are, but beyond those 4 walls,
They've got some stories to tell.
They do.
All right, real quick, we've just got about 20 seconds left. We've got the big benefit coming up tomorrow night. If anybody wants to get involved, they can still get tickets. Is that right?
You can still get tickets. It's going to be a great night, great student performances, huge silent and live auctions, a ton of fun.
All right, congratulations for all the work you do in the community. Thanks
Thank
for
you so
enlightening us
Thank you
all
for having us.
about
Thanks
the
for having us
program.
here.
Good luck tomorrow night. And we thank you for watching us on Viewpoint. We're going to put that web address up one more time. For now, back to News for Today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody.